okay.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. So, welcome to the Youth Cafe podcast, USIU edition. My good name is Shirley Jemeli, a programs associate from the Youth Cafe and your go-to podcast host. So today we are here to look into the intersection between law, cybersecurity, and leadership in tech. And on board, these guests are iconic. Let me tell you, you'll bear me witness because today Mambo ni live. So yeah, first up we have our very own Elisha Ongonya at the Youth Cafe. It might get hotter and hotter, but please look at the documents, compose yourself and read. You get it? Don't get it, forget about it. So his good name is his good name is Blair Angima. He's a lawyer by profession. So I'll just mention their names and then I'll give them 1 minute each to introduce themselves, because if I introduce them, honestly, I'll do them a major injustice for obvious reasons. Then next up, we have Talo Harrison, and he's a cybersecurity expert. And also we have the queen herself, and apparently she's the president of IT Club USIU. Her good name is Caroline Kasusi. And so Angima, Harrison, and Caroline, your 1 minute starts now. You're welcome in that particular order.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Blair Angima. I am a lawyer by profession. I specialize in constitutional matters and tax matters. Other than that, I am a member of the Youth Cafe. I sit at the advisory board. I am also a legal consultant for the Global Youth Development Program. It's a pleasure being here today, and I hope we have a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
okay, my name's Talo Harrison Martini. I am a cybersecurity expert, an instructor. So I train people when it comes to matters of security, ethical hacking, and all that, and how to secure systems. Apart from that, I'm also a founder of some two companies. One that deals with just helping the youth, and the other one deals with security, so providing security solution for Africa companies. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to the podcast. Thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is My name is Caroline Kasusi. I'm a USAU student. I'm the going IT club president, and currently I'm working as a solution architect at CVD Technologies, serving different customers with their software solutions. So I'm ready and eager to also learn as we ask questions to the lawyer and the expert. Yeah.
All right. So, as you all know, today we are here to unpack the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2018, particularly Section 27 and Section 37, which speaks about online harassment, cyberbullying, and non-consensual sharing of intimate images. The reason we are doing it here is because we were once students. We are always students because learning is a continuous process, and we are always students of life. Yeah, also before we start, I'd like you to imagine this scenario. You're here in campus and you get a partner, and then you decide, because you don't want a boring relationship, now you share intimate images, and then in 2027 or 2032, you want to be MP for Embakasi West, you want to be MP for Mumias West, like Peter Salasia, and then your partner decides, or your ex decides, to be the weapon formed against you. Now they're there, they are telling you the way they'll do this, they'll do that, and then you're all stressed up and all that. And then again, there's this scenario whereby there's a certain youth who was sharing this photo of the president in a coffin. You know, there's comedy, but now too much of something is also poisonous, right? Because imagine your parent or your sibling, your whatever, in a casket. That's so sad, right? Yes. So today, that's why we are here. We want you to understand that there's freedom of expression, but there are limits to it, because in lugha ya mtaa we say uta, uta. kufa vibaya, you will die. So let's get to it. We will begin with Blair Angima. And Angima, to start us off, could you please explain the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2018, what's all about, and why is it important for young people to understand it?
So thank you for the question. Indeed, the Cybercrimes Act is a very important act in the context of how legislation is passed in Kenya. Before I go to the Cybercrimes Act, I want to first of all delve into the Constitution though a little bit, because Article 94.5 of the Constitution gives the Parliament the mandate to legislate on behalf of the Kenyan because they are the representative of the people. And it is with this mandate that the Kenyan Parliament so it fits to exercise their jurisdiction and enact the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2018. So the Computer Cybercrimes Act 2018 deals with a variety of issues in the modern world and in modern Kenya today. So we'll be delving into specific sections of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, and we'll be discussing on the importance, how to implement uh, the specific sections, and the challenges that this particular act faces. So, therefore, when you look at the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, we will be focusing on Section 27, which is cyber harassment, and Section 37, which is explicit sharing of intimate photos without consent from maybe your partner or the person who sent such messages to you. So when you're looking at Section 27, cyber harassment is a wide term that we use. So to be specific, cyber harassment includes hate speech, it includes cyberbullying. There is also the element of cyber harassment, and all these sections of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act are all tied to the Constitution. So when we go back to the Constitution, we have Article 25, which gives you the rights that cannot be limited in Kenya. For example, you have the right not to be treated in an inhumane manner or given a punishment that is inhumane. So that is Article 25. Whereas Article 24 of the Constitution limits rights of citizens in this country. There are four rights which cannot be limited and are situated in Article 25. Other than that, we have Article 28, which ties to Section 27 and 37. So Article 28 talks about the freedom of dignity. So any person who treats you has the responsibility to treat you with dignity and not in an inhumane manner. Other than that, we have Article 31 of the Constitution, which also speaks about privacy laws. And here it's tied to now Section 37 of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, where you get your photos have been shared with another person without you consenting to them, and therefore it's a breach of your privacy rights. Other than that, there is Article 33, which talks about freedom of expression. So you can express yourself on social platforms, on digital platforms, but there is a right of Article 24, which states that all rights except the rights of Article 25 are limited. So, in as much as you have the right under Article 33 to express yourself, then this right is curtailed when you start expressing views of hate speech or cyberbullying, cyber harassment, and the like. Other than that, there are corresponding articles such as Article 34 and Article 35. Article 34 is about the freedom of the media, and Article 35, I believe, is about um, the right to access information which is publicly available. So I believe the Constitution has mandated the Parliament of this Republic to formulate laws which protect Kenyans, and we need to realize whereby where my rights begin is where your rights end. So, in as much as we want to exercise these particular articles of the Constitution, which are tied to the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, we need to be very responsible and be very informed as to how we express our views on social media. Yeah.
All right. Non-law students, hello. The articles and sections are becoming so many. I hope you're not getting confused. Also, this the situation whereby, let's say you've gone to is it Habanos or Habanas? You've gone to Quiver, and then tomorrow morning you wake up, you find yourself in Nairobi Gossip, that as the epitome of how students in universities live reckless lives. Imagine that, and your parents are in the app, they are watching that. So, Harrison, many young people just share content freely. So far, what are the most common digital security mistakes that young people make?
Okay, thank you very much. When it comes to cybersecurity, we have, of course, when you're talking about cyber, we have three things that comes in your mind if you want security. That is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So that means when you're looking at now the oversharing, which basically most young people are oversharing when it comes to now cybersecurity, or basically when it comes to cyber world. So you'll find that you overshare. Right now there's TikTok and all that, and it's fancy, yes, to share some information. And when you're talking about the information you're sharing, it's very, very important, what you're sharing, because we have several tools. Like, for example, when it comes to security, we have what you call as OSINT. So if I want to know information about you, I'll just put your name, and then all your information, what you have posted online, I'll be able to access to that. So that means what you're sharing online is very, very, very important. So you have to look at what you share. Of course, the truth of the matter is that there is oversharing, starting from people sharing where they are, their location, their names, even their student IDs or UIDs, or even passport. I've seen some instances where you share your passport, you share your certificate. Let's say you have one, you want people to know, you want to give them an update. But as you're doing that, of course, there is that oversharing, which is one of the issues when it comes to the cybersecurity world, or the cyber world. Also, another thing is when it comes to the password that you're using. You have seen accounts where, let's say, someone has taken access to your account. Some, it usually someone has taken your password because maybe you just used a weak password or a simple password, let's say your name, or even just a simple password 1 2 3 4. Some of you, I know, even having that password 1 2 3 4 until 9, or even using your ex name or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and or where you come from, or even we are at USIU, using USIU. So those are some of the weak passwords that someone can easily be able to guess. And if they guess and get access to your account, that can also be a problem, because now we'll be looking at how someone can be able to use your account, of course, to do a lot of cyber harassment when it comes to you. Another thing is when you're installing applications. So, you may get this fancy application, and of course, there is terms and condition. Most of you, or most of people, don't go through the terms and condition. Maybe the application, once you click allow, it's allowing to access your mic, your camera, and all that. And of course, there's a lot of confidential. That's why you will find sometimes you're talking about something. Let's say you're talking about shoes. When you go to Instagram or you go to Google, you are finding it all over the place. It's because you allowed when it came to the permission that you gave that application. And of course, they are getting that information. And right now, there's AI and all that. So someone can easily be able now to come up with algorithms that will be running about that. That is marketing or ads. But now, let's say if someone has a malicious, just the way Shirley has said, maybe you're buying and then there's something that went online or went viral, and then they release it. And of course, it's something that is confidential, or it's something that will tarnish your name, or will call it cyber harassment. So that means when it comes to the cyber world, you have to be very, very careful to ensure that your digital footprint, it remain confidential. you look at what to share and not to share so that you don't end up oversharing information that can be able to be used, of course, later on to tarnish your name or to harm you later on when it comes to life. Thank you.
Beautiful. So, Caroline, from your perspective as a student, how aware are your peers about this Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2018 so that we know where to start from?
Honestly, I don't think I'm sure some of us we had the acts and the sections right now and today. So when we start sharing things on WhatsApp, when you start sharing things on, especially during the campaign periods, hi campaigners. I don't want to call different categories here. They'll start
What
telling
during
me
the campaign period right now?
it's just ended.
Oh,
So a lot of words were shared on different platforms. And sometimes it's unknowingly you want to bash someone because you want your team to win or not to win because you don't know what are the policies behind what you're doing. Your actions are not driven by knowledge. Even the Bible says lack of knowledge. You know, when you
it
don't
will
know
perish.
something, it will perish. Sindio? So yeah, I think we don't know, and it's a good move for Youth Cafe to just think: can we educate university students on these policies? What can we do, and what are our boundaries on how far can we go?
All right. Is she right? Or don't you know, or you know some parts, or you know? Okay. All right. So, Angema, Section 37 covers non-consensual sharing of images. What qualifies as a violation to this, and how can victims seek justice?
That's a very important question because there was an incident, I think, 2 weeks ago when a musician and his wife were having squabbles and they decided to post each other on the internet. So it's a clear violation of Article 31. And I need to emphasize that for you to understand cyber laws in Kenya, you first of all need to understand what we in law call the grand norm, which is the supreme law. So the Constitution is the supreme law of this country that was enacted by the people. Article 31 of the Constitution gives each and every person privacy rights. Therefore, with regards to this question, when you're reading Section 27 of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, so here is now where we delve into the legal framework of it. So we first of all anchor this section in Article 31 of the Constitution, and then now we read it pro se in Section 37 of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. And it's a crime for you to share explicit video or images of your partner or someone else without, number one, consent from that person. So consent is very, very important. So for you to be able to share such videos and photos, you first of all need consent from the other person whose photo they are. Number two, you need to understand there is, when you're reading the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, it defines what a crime is. So when you understand criminal litigation, there is two elements of it. There is the intent and the act. The intent, we refer to it as the malice aforethought, the intention, the motive. So if your motive or your malice is to cause damage to another person's reputation, another person's feelings, another person's mental space, then it can be deemed that you have committed a crime because, number one, your intent was not to do good. Your intent was to harm and cyberbully or cyber harass. So if you can prove the intent, then the action then comes in place. And here is where now we have people who are charged in courts of law under Section 37, and they are brought in court, and uh, the prosecution has to interrogate the facts and say that this was the motive. The motive was to damage the reputation of person XYZ because she left this person and she is on the right track for maybe a campaign or a government position. So if the intent is proven and you committed the act, then you have committed a crime. And now, when you're looking at the crime that is specified in Section 37, there are also other factors that come with it. But the main two factors are number one, the lack of consent and the intent to do the harm. So the third most important thing to know is the actual harm that is done. So here is now where you as a victim will go to court and say, this person posted this video or image of me, and as a result, I had a contract with, let's say, Pembe Unga companies, and they have dropped me as a client, and therefore it's because of him I've lost this contract. So those three things marry together to create the perfect storm of a crime being committed and how a person can be charged. So if a person does such a crime or commits such a crime, then the victim has legal recourse he can follow. So number one is to report that incident to the nearest police station. And it's always advised on the chain of custody. If you can be able to grab a screenshot or save the URLs and the links leading to this post, it's advisable to do so. And then number two, you also need to do your statement once you're making the allegation in a police station. Once that has been done, then the case is a criminal in nature. And for criminal cases in nature, it will either end up in a fine or jail time or community service, for example. So if you feel contented that this person has been locked up for 2 years or 3 years, you can leave the matter there. But if this person's actions costed you, let's say, 10 million Kenyan shillings because you are debranded from a certain brand, then you can use now the criminal judgment and institute a civil suit whereby now you'll be asking the court for this person, the perpetrator, to now compensate you wholly to your original position. So there are various ways of handling crimes committed under Section 37 of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. Yes.
Right. Um, so Harrison, how can someone know that they're being cyberbullied?
Okay. When it comes to cyberbullying, it doesn't only include the angry posts or messages that people post online. So it includes several things. And when it comes to that, of course, we are in the era of AI, and that means someone can easily be able to use AI to post. I know most of you know about posting, let's say, intimate pictures or posting some information. But to add on that, we also have some other scenario. Like for example, let's say um, you have friends, and they create a WhatsApp group, and they do not include you. And if they do not include you, of course, what will be able to happen? It will be able to cause an harm. Maybe if they are talking about you. So that is also part of cyber harassment. Then we also have some scenario when it comes to, let's say, for example, someone accessing your account, um, unauthorized access. Of course, these unauthorized access, as I explained earlier, comes when, let's say, for example, you click on a link that you don't know. And of course, if you click on a malicious link, malware, you know what is a malware? Malware is any malicious program that can be able to cause harm, damage, or disruption of the normal working of a system or whatever that, or the application that you're looking at. So if you click on that in malicious link, and of course, most of you may have already experienced that, you see a message, a pop-up from your friend that they need help urgently at 3 a.m. and they want you to send to a certain number money. So that is just, it may happen because someone just clicked on a malicious link, and of course it gain access to their system. So that is also part of cyber harassment. So in case you see any, let's say, message that maybe wants you to be able to do that, you need to check on the person just to be able to understand, because that is also part of cyber harassment. And then we also have, um, if let's say, we have deepfake. So if I create an image or a video that will be able basically now to make you either cause harm to you or make you anxious or make you, of course, affect your morale and all that. So that is also part of cyber harassment. And of course, because of AI, it's so easy. We have many tools that you can be able to use to come up with those images, come up with the videos, which is basically just part of deepfakes. We call them deepfakes in AI. So that, as much as you may think that you're creating a meme, modern meme, or you're coming up with a video that will make the audience happy, but if it's causing harm to someone, so that is also some part of the cyber harassment. And then, of course, I've talked about, let's say, um, um, I have an Instagram account. So if my Instagram account publishes anything that I've not authorized, it's still part of cyber harassment. And of course, if someone accesses my account and they post anything, may it be marketing or may it be any content that they're doing, so that will be part of the cyber harassment. So cyber harassment is not only about you posting angry messages or images or post here and there, but it's about a lot of things. Even I've just talked about the WhatsApp group. If you open a WhatsApp group and we are friends, and then not including that WhatsApp group, and then of course you're talking maybe something that you don't want me to hear about. So that is, of course, it has made me anxious to know why did you create this WhatsApp group? What is it all about? So that is part of cyber harassment. So someone can still be able to see you, and that will be illegal as per the Computer Misuse and, of course, Cybercrime Act of 2018. And to add on that, of course, we have the Data Protection Act of 2018. So they go hand in hand with the computer misuse. So, of course, that's why you'll be able to see when you go to clubs, they have indicated that by you entering these premise, you're allowing them to share your picture so that you don't end up suing them, because you can be able to sue them. And if you sue them, and of course, Data Protection Commission is part of the commission that is, of course, implementing computer misuse and cybercrime. So you may be wondering why I'm talking about the act, and I'm a cyber security expert. Of course, for you to become a cyber expert, you need to understand the laws, because if you're going against the laws, you of course undermining also now the cyber world. So cyber is all about the laws, and then now we look at how to secure the systems, or how to make sure that now we are not cyber harassed online or cyber bullied. And also now when it comes to that, also just to add as I finish, there is also surveillance. Surveillance is also part of cyber harassment. So if I know most people put CCTV camera all over the place, it's a security protocol, but you need also to seek people to approve that. You need to tell them that you are under a CCTV monitoring area or premise, so that you don't end up just collecting information about someone, because we don't know what you're going to be able to do that. Because now, if I'm walking, let's say I'm coming to your premise, and then you're having that surveillance. So I don't know how you're going to be able to use. So that is also part of cyber harassment. Then there is also stalking. There is a terminology like, for example, cyber stalking. So cyber stalking, of course, when you talk about cyber stalking, it's a lot. Of course, when you're contacting someone, let's say, for example, I don't want you to text me on Instagram, but every time you're texting me, so that is part of stalking. Or you're just monitoring me, you're accessing my account, trying to go through, or even let's say you call me today, and then I say, I don't know, you stop calling. So you keep on calling. So that is part of now the cyber stalking, which is also part of harassment. There's also there is also impersonation. And when I talk about impersonation, impersonation is we call it as sometimes we call it identity theft. So I gain access of your account, or I can be able to use. I've talked about the malware. And then once I take care of that account, what I'll be doing is, of course, I start sharing information or soliciting people to contribute some money or send some money somewhere. So that is part of just that cyber harassment. So thank you.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Now now that we have a deeper understanding of cyber harassment and bullying, Caro, could you give us maybe examples of what you've encountered in the campus space?
Okay. So one thing that I have noted is creation of avatars. You know, the current smartphones, you want to poke someone, and now you want to create that avatar to be used as a meme. Yeah, kufurahisha bogi. So when you're doing that, you don't know that you're hurting someone. Maybe they have told you, kind, why are you resharing my details and all that? But now you just create an avatar, and that you don't know how long can it be used. It can be used by 1,000 people, 2,000. That's one. And the other thing that I've noticed is WhatsApp messages that I mentioned earlier. So you share messages that are affecting the other person's, you know, the personalized person that I am, Caroline, is the respect that I want to be carried with. But now when you start and dignifying me, you're messing up with the person that I am. So we start sharing messages that are abusive, quote unquote, not directly calling you names, but you don't want to give me the dignity that I deserve. Yeah.
And is that gender biased?
I wouldn't say it's gender bias. It's across both genders. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Does that happen regularly or just during campaigns?
I've noticed it lately. I don't know what's happening with us Gen Zs. So we need to be careful because now that I'm in the employment side, I'm working, you start realizing that the things that you do in campus will follow you later. Yeah.
All right. Now that the CMCA was enacted in 2018, and that time AI was not that rampant. So, Angima, could you tell us the provisions for that? Like, is the act maybe falling short a little bit?
I appreciate your question. We need to realize that when this act came in force, was enforced, was in 2018. And 2018 to 2025, that is a period of 7 years. And there is other provisions of the law, for example, the Statutory Instrument Act, which this applies to acts and bills, for example, with a limited timeline so that they don't expire before another regulation is made, for example. So it was the first thing that I noted because the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act does not have any timelines per se. It's just a general act that was enacted in 2018 to serve the Kenyan people. And if nobody is willing to bring about amendment or to bring about revision of these laws, then it will remain the same. But I do understand that and appreciate how far we as a country have come with regards to technology. I remember during the commencement of this act, 2018, the then ICT minister, I believe, was Fred Okengo Matiang'i. And it was during this ecological era whereby people were shifting from analog to digital. The whole movement of analog to digital movement was mainly anchored in, I can say, three acts: the Kenya Information Communication Act, the Data Protection Act, and the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. So it was during this a time when Kenya was realizing that we have a very young population who are very well familiar with technology, and therefore such acts came in place. But the issue, the intent that time was to handle crimes or to handle issues that were tailor-made uh, for that period, if I may say so. Because ever since 2019, 2020, post COVID-19, there has emerged new technologies. For example, there is virtual reality, there is artificial intelligence, and with the emergence of most artificial intelligence, then we have a whole load of new crimes that are now being committed. For example, there are deepfake, there are child-generated sexual materials, which we call them CSAM, and then there the issue of cyber phishing and the issue of cyber flashing, which have been rampant due to the issue of AI. So, for example, the issue of cyber flashing is when somebody sends you explicit video content on your social media platform and you never requested for such content. And when we now come to tackle the issue legally, you find that number one, such content is not created by human beings. It's created by AI. So you have a person who has paid for an AI module and has come up with child sexual content and is sharing them over on social media. And the issue now comes in place because uh, it's very difficult for you to access the person who generated this information because under the Data Protection Act, the platform that you use to secure the AI service also has a code of privacy and they cannot release your information. So we have law enforcement finding challenges to investigate on these issues. Number two is the issue that such platforms and such advanced technologies are not ideally hosted in Kenya. So you'll find someone has uh, a web space somewhere that is not in the jurisdiction of Kenya. So the issue comes in place whereby the local enforcement agencies want to investigate and expedite the matter to reach to courts. But the issue is the content is not stored in Kenya. So how do we go about that? Other than that, there has been emerging issues to do with the Gen Z and the youth alike, issues to do with parody. Somebody creates an account and says, this is William Ruto, parody account, and he posts everything mimicking the president. So there is a fine detail between freedom of expression and the government's will to protect and prevent harm that is being committed by social media users against other social media users. So there have been many challenges when coming to enforce an act that was ideally made for 7 years ago. It's not tailor suited for today's day and era with regards to the amount of youth who are on social media, the amount of people who use social media to create videos, create images, and whatnot. And therefore, it has been a challenge for most of the legal side, investigative agencies, the DCI, ATPU, also when they are tracking terror cells in Kenya, they find it very difficult because of the issues I've just named. And it is high time as a country right now, we look at the digital space whereby if we can review or amend certain aspects of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, then until that is done, I don't think we'll graduate to the next level. And if I can add, there are comparative jurisdictions. For example, there is the Criminal Code, Section 265 of the Australian Criminal Code. There is the British Criminal Code, as well as the South African Cybersecurity Act, which have been developed to tailor suit specific and day-to-day issues that are emerging from technological advancement, which is not being implemented in Kenya.
All right.
Yes.
So what does amendment look like? How is the process?
So the process of amendment is more geared towards policy change. So the process starts with what you are doing right now. Uh, for you to make an amendment to any law or a policy change, you first of all need to identify the issue at hand. Once you identify the issue at hand, you need to look for the solution. Once you have the solution, now the constitution kicks in, being the supreme law, and it will guide you on issues to do with public participation, issues to do with stakeholders engagement, issues to do with reporting or report writing to capture public participation uh, and stakeholder engagements. So once all that is done, then you can approach the relevant committee in parliament. And in this case, it's the information committee in parliament in the National Assembly to therefore kickstart the chain of amending the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. They are equally interested parties who conjoin or come together when it comes to amending certain laws. For example, the office of the Attorney General will have to be involved because it's the state law office which advises government and county governments. Other, other than that, there is the National Computer Coordination uh, Committee. It's called the NC4, which is anchored by the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. It's also another interested party that we need to liaise with before we do amendments. Other than that, there are stakeholders within the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. The issues to do with the anti-terror police unit when they are tracing terror cells using digital media. There is the issues to do with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, as well as the issues to do with just regular police, because in as much as we think these laws are meant for hardcore criminals, they do affect us on a day-to-day basis, as well as the issue of protecting the sovereignty and integrity of our borders. We have the Military Intelligence Service and the National Intelligence Service, which are also stakeholders and are key committee members in the NC4 committee. So that is how we'll go about doing the amendments to the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act.
All right, so
Yes.
you've mentioned public participation. Like, how many people do you need? Signatures?
For public participation, the court has pronounced itself on what is efficient public participation. Efficient public participation need not include 1,000 or 2,000 members. It can be views of 10, 100 people, or even 200 people. But of importance, it's that it should be fair, it should be readily accessible, and all the information that is discussed at the public fora should be recorded down. Collection of signatures and uh, recording of uh, uh, people who attend the public fora, their identities and whatnot is very important. So that is how we go about public participation. It's not necessarily the numbers per se, but the quality of the public participation that you wish to conduct.
Oh, all
Yes.
right. So, Harrison, what practical tools or digital hygiene tips that students can use to protect themselves?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So there is a lot of things when it comes to you protecting yourself online. So first of all, of course, is you need to stop oversharing. And when we're talking about oversharing, I've already explained what oversharing is. So look at before you post anything, look at what should you be able to post. I know it may be trendy, but it may come to haunt you or to haunt you a bit later on. So make sure that you are not oversharing. You are securing your digital footprint so that even 10 years, 20 years to come, if someone is looking about your information, uh, they shouldn't be able to, they should find less information that they can be able to use for cyberbullying. Then another thing is the password that you're using. So make the password to be strong. And what is a strong password? So a strong password, it should be a password that has its alphanumeric, use symbols, you're able to add numbers, capital letters and all that. So you do a combination of that. And then also at the same time as you're looking at those strong password, make sure that you are using a two-factor authentication. I don't know if you know about two-factor. It's called 2FA. To explain two-factor authentication, just like um, when you're driving, you need to put on a seat belt. So it may take time for you to be able to put the seat belt on, but it will help you, of course, in case of any accident. So a two-factor authentication is just a security technique that will be able to involve, let's say in case someone guesses your password or gets your password, they will require to have that two-factor authentication. We have different types of two-factor authentication, including the code that is sent to your SMS. So most of the email right now, they have made it sure that you set up a two-factor authentication. You can also use, let's say, your biometrics to access. Of course, if someone needs to access an account, your account, they're required to have those. They will require to have your fingerprints or your affairs and all that, and that is not very possible because of the when you look at biometrics itself, there is some key features that are taken from someone, and of course there's been an advancement to make sure that now no one can be able to use your biometrics, even if they record it, they pre-record it. Of course, there is some bit of liveness that need to be captured in that. So biometrics will be able to help. Also, we have many applications, many applications. So when you're installing the application, make sure that you check the permissions. What are you allowing the application? Of course, your mobile phone or your computer has been made in a way that you have to allow some permissions. Of course, when you're using iPhone or Android, regardless of the type of phone that you're using, it gives you, first of all, to go through the terms and condition. What is the application doing? What is it collecting? What does it require access to your phone? So most of the applications that have access to your mic, your location, which is tracking, or even your camera, you're not supposed to allow. So they give you the capability not to allow. So make sure you do not allow such permissions, because we don't want a scenario where an application will be collecting more information about you without you knowing. Of course, that will be an harassment, cyber harassment. Then also when it comes to of course what you're sharing, and also the groups that you are in, or even if you're dating, make sure that you don't share some implicit videos or images, because you never know, you may be dating someone and then after years you break up, and if you shared with them some videos out of malice, they end up sharing some videos that are not supposed to be shared. So if you have to share any video, of course, right now we have um, application that allow view once. Okay, so we have view once. You can send a view once. Of course, there's some people who try now to even take now a view once on top of, like, you have a phone and you want to take it when you're holding like this, but view once is able to allow. Also, we have some applications that will securely store your videos. That means they will be able to encrypt. Encryption is where now, in case you want to access that video later on, you require to have a password or a key for you to be able to access. So look at such application if you have to share, and also make sure that now we still have screenshots. So in case someone get access to your phone, of course you have a passcode, you have a pin that you're using. So make sure that in case you have that, you also have, if your application, like if your phone is taking a screenshot, let's have those applications that will be able to, of course, after that, delete the message, or make sure that the communication is end-to-end encrypted, where now, if a screenshot is taken, of course, no one will be able to view that screenshot. And that will be able to help. And of course, when you're going out, let's say for those, we use and we go out most of the time, I know Shirley talked about Abanos and all that. So if you go there and you're doing something, know that there is cameras, and of course look at the laws. Most of the clubs, they don't tell you, but they're already protected by the law when it comes to Data Protection Act. Because they have said by you entering, you agree with terms and conditions. So make sure what you're doing there, it will not be something that will tarnish your name. Just know that there is surveillance. And also your mobile phone, ensure that you do analyze the phone itself. Sometimes there's some applications that are malicious. So do not install, like for example, there was WhatsApp GB. It's no longer there, but I know most of you were using it to see other people's status that they have deleted, or maybe to bypass some of the security features that WhatsApp have. But at the same time, do you know that WhatsApp GB was collecting information about you? It's only that maybe the information they collected didn't have that financial value to them, maybe at that time. So make sure that you know the application you're installing. Don't install malicious applications. Malicious applications are applications that have malwares, and of course, the malware here will be able to do that. Also, do not click on any link you see. let's say if today if I shared with you any link, don't just click on it, or maybe you are anxious, you want to see what is there. So make sure first of all, you ask what is the video. So I can send, let's say for example, I can send to you that this is a questionnaire. How can you be able to prove that this link is a questionnaire? And you know, if it's a malware, if once you just click like this, it's able to take over your phone or take over your system, and then it's going to be able to do something. So we don't want to hear that my phone has been hacked, and of course it's you who just clicked on a link, and then you started sending random WhatsApp messages to people about 2K urgently or whatever messages that are there. So you just make sure that before you click any link, you are able to verify, know the source. Um, and also there's some funny link, like for example, Amazon is giving $500, $50. I know we comrades are wants to earn something, but don't just click and put those are basically malware. People are trying to get that. So if we're able to do that, of course, that means we'll be securing what we share. Our digital space will be secured. But if we do the opposite, now the opposite, the opposite will also happen, where now you get your information that it's not supposed to be out there, being out there and all that.